What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Hey everybody, welcome back to What's Your Favorite Scary Movie, the show where I talk to people about their favorite horror movie. My guest today is the inaugural AEW TBS champion and one of the most compelling professional wrestlers working today, Jade Cargill. Hey Jade.
Hey, how you doing, James? I'm grateful to be here today.
I'm so happy to have you because, I did just say this before we had an error recording, but it's 100% the truth. I have a lot of friends who just aren't into professional wrestling. It's just not their thing. But whenever I want them to come over to watch an AEW pay-per-view, all I have to do is show them a picture or video of you and they're immediately interested.
That's awesome. That's what I'm here for. But our company, we bleed all the time. We go through tables and we take tags. We should be drawing them in. That's what it's about. Scary movies. Let's do it.
Yeah, the horror fans. That's why there's such a huge crossover between professional wrestling fans and horror fans. I think it's the appeal of fictionalized violence, but also with that little bit of danger there to make it exciting.
Yes. Did you guys not see CM Punk dripped and drowned in blood? Can't get better than that.
That is what I appreciate about AEW is that you guys definitely have the blood. I don't need it always, but it adds that sense of danger and that sense of these people really are out there putting their health and bodies on the line. It's like when you watch an action movie and people are getting shot and there's no blood. It's like, this isn't a realistic depiction, but when there's actual blood, it's like, okay, this is more like what it really is.
Exactly. I try to tell people all the time, when you get punched in your face, what are you going to do? Say, oh my gosh, no, you're not going to do that. You're probably going to curse, go off, and then beat somebody's ass. Come on. Let's be realistic here.
I really appreciate that. Speaking of horror movies, what's your association with the genre? Have you always been a fan of them? Are you a latecomer to the genre? Because it seems like horror fans span the whole range of that. Some people, lifelong fans. Some people just got into it, and that doesn't dictate necessarily how true of fans they are.
So I've been watching horror movies forever. I remember when Blockbuster was a thing, and me and my brother on Fridays, we always got everybody in our family got a movie, and then we got pizza because Pizza Hut was right next door to Blockbuster. So we would, back in the day, you had to guess if the movie was gonna be good based off, the
cover.
Yeah, the cover. We would literally just pick the bloodiest, scariest ones, and those are the ones that weren't that good. But I always like scary movies. I love, I have a very cryptic side. So I like, historical graveyards. I love all that. When I lived in France, for example, I can't think of the cemetery right now that's in Paris, but I loved it. I love those kind of, horror movies are my thing. Scary movies are my thing. Anything historical and creepy, for some reason, it just draws me. I love it. And so every time we go to a different city, I always try to figure out what's a historical graveyard or anything like that. We were just in, where were we? Boston. And I was gonna check out a cemetery when I was in Boston. However, it was raining. It was just really, really bad weather. And I muddy and all that stuff in the cemetery. I couldn't do it. But yeah, that kind of stuff intrigues me.
I love the idea of cemetery tourism. I've never heard of that, checking out the cemeteries from all the towns you visit.
It's peaceful, but I'm an old school. I like to feel that old vibe of getting scary. I like turning off all the lights and any type of way I can get scared, I try my best to do it.
Well, that makes sense with the old school that you picked The Evil Dead for us to discuss today from 1981. This is one of the most cult classic horror movies, and it's such a low budget indie movie. It's one of those movies that I find really interesting because I think the sequels and everything that came after it really are what made it popular. But that first movie, it's a classic and it's so homemade. I feel like a lot of people who are into Ash, the character that Bruce Campbell plays, they would watch this first movie and be like, that's Ash? It's so different.
I thought it was so good though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I was born in 92. So maybe for me I was probably, the first time I seen it, I was young. I was maybe 7 or 8, maybe younger than that. I know. And it was the most, just the cover. It was so scary. That was probably one of the scariest movies I watched growing up. And every time I watch it, I have not watched it in a while. It brings back that feeling. I don't know, like the blood, just the goriness of it, and just being in the woods, that was scary to me. Like I had to, at one point, we would watch it and we'll have to pause and take breaks in between. So it was a great movie for back in the day. I wouldn't think it was a low budget at all. I mean, I know it's a low budget, but I would have never guessed for a 1981 movie it was such a low budget. They did a great job.
Oh yeah, this was, I think, 13 people. That's it. Just went out to the woods in Tennessee and just filmed this thing. And it was notoriously a difficult shoot. What's wild is that it was written and directed by Sam Raimi, who has gone on to do such huge things. He's about to have Doctor Strange 2 come out, and he started with this weird little movie in the woods.
And I think he was, what, 20 at the time?
Dude, he had just turned 20 when he made this movie.
Wow.
Like, what have I done with my life? Jesus.
Wow. He accomplished a lot in that one movie, in that one film. So, I mean, at 20, that's great.
What I love about Evil Dead is exactly what you were mentioning. It just feels so scary. I started watching horror movies when I was really young too, probably around the same age, like 7, 8 years old. And I remember like slowly making my way through these titles I had heard of: Friday the 13th, Halloween. Evil Dead was one of the last ones that I felt brave enough to do because of the cover and its reputation. Like, it has this reputation. It was one of the video nasties in the UK, and it was like banned and everything. And I think it still has an NC-17 rating. I mean, I think it's befitting that it has that rating because like the gore and the scary makeup, and especially in the era of VHS when everything looks grainy and there's the tracking and everything, it just looks like it could be a snuff film, like something that was actually real and happened.
Exactly. And that's, I think the woods and just the character of the movie, that's what made it so unique. It wasn't, today we use all these 3D and 4D and all this kind of like graphics. Compared to back then, it was real. Like, it's something that would make you, if you ever seen a cabin like that in the middle of nowhere, you probably would say, all right, I've seen this before. Like, I think I'm not gonna go this way. It was very realistic to me, and that's why I had to take breaks in between watching the movie. But that's where I started off with. I mean, like Child's Play, Leprechaun, you name it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like Candyman, like that's what I liked. And maybe it being so low budget made it so realistic.
Definitely. I think that adds a lot to why it's so scary, because when movies have a bigger budget, you can maybe start to see the seams of like where the money went and how these things are faked and done. But with this, you're watching it and you're just like, how did they do that? The makeup effects.
The makeup was so scary.
Yeah. And the voice of the Deadites and the possessed people as they're screaming at Ash.
Come on, Dr. Shane, let me out. I'm all right now. It's your sister, Cheryl.
Whatever modulation they did with those voices is terrifying.
It's crazy. It's realistic. Everything was just so realistic. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. Anything can happen. Anything.
I also have a special love for this movie because Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, and I think the entire cast, come from Michigan, which is where I'm from. I'm from right outside Detroit. And so even one of the characters has a Michigan State University sweater on.
It was in the beginning, if I'm correct. It was a woman, wasn't it? It was one of the women.
Yeah, it's Ash's girlfriend, Linda, I believe, has the MSU sweater. And I went to U of M, so a little bit of rivalry, but like still appreciate the Michigan throwback there.
Yes.
Have you been to Tennessee? I don't know if where they filmed this still exists as a location. I bet it doesn't. I bet it's just woods now.
Well, looking at the history and everything, they were saying that they burnt it down. They burnt it down. The only thing existed is the chimney.
Oh, okay.
I would love to go see it, but they say it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think they really just found this cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere. I know that as the shoot went on, because it went on for several weeks and it was starting to get cold and crew members were leaving because it was such an arduous filming process. I know that like by the end, when they were only shooting outside scenes, they were literally burning furniture to stay warm. So they were just like burning everything.
Yeah, I mean, like they say they were living in the house too.
Yeah, because like there wasn't enough nearby places to go and it didn't have plumbing, I think.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
That's creepy. Unless it's, we have to have a whole crew stay in the house. Like, there's no way at all.
It's funny though, because this one really sets the template for like the cabin in the woods cliche almost. The movie Cabin in the Woods is, part parody, and a lot of the shots and the setting, it lifts directly from this film. Like, there are clear homages to this movie just being taken directly.
Yes, it was a lot of homage in this movie. I think it was Jaws is in this movie, like a poster for Jaws. What's another one? It's
Hills
like
Have Eyes?
Yes, that was one of them. That was one of the rip posters, correct?
Yeah, it's like ripped down in the bomb. And I think what's funny about that is Hills Have Eyes is a Wes Craven movie, and then Wes Craven later made Nightmare on Elm Street, and in that movie they're watching Evil Dead, so it's kind of like a back and forth.
It's so weird, right? I love it. I like stuff like Rose Red, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
Yeah, people don't know about Rose Red, maybe because it's such a long movie.
Yeah.
But I like that as well.
Is that the Stephen King miniseries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody Pet Sematary, come on.
Original or remake?
The original. I like the original. You know what? For a remake, I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed. For me, remakes, I'm not a big fan of remakes because it's like with technology and everything happening today, it's very unrealistic. But that remake, I actually went to the movies and I watched it and I enjoy it. Like the new Scream just came out. No, the Scream, I wasn't a huge fan of it.
No, you weren't.
No, not the new one. I love Scream, but a lot of unrealistic parts in it where I was like, she could have called sooner or whatever she had to do. Same thing with Chainsaw Massacre that just came out.
Yeah, you didn't like that one?
I just feel like if I'm FaceTiming somebody on a bus and people are getting slaughtered, I would think that somebody would say, hey, this does not look fake. We're gonna call the state patrol or whatever it is. People are gonna fly in regardless if it's an hour away from everything. Like, we're gonna figure this out, and it's more than 10 people getting slaughtered on a bus. I don't know. I would have tried my best. We would have had to all jump on this guy on the bus rather than like just getting
not everyone's Jade Cargill, Jade.
No, but like, I don't know, it's a fight. What is it, fight or flight? I don't know. Like, we're gonna have to do something. And then at the end, the woman got out the window, so no one tried to like, nobody.
Oh yeah, who gets cut in half there? She's trying to get out.
Nobody tried to open nothing up. Nobody tried to break a window. No, I don't know. I think I'll become Hulk at that moment trying to save my own life. Scary movies these days are hard for me. So hard. So that's why I always go back to the original and watch the original of whatever they were making.
Yeah, it sounds like you're taken out when like your suspension of disbelief is broken when you're seeing stuff that just doesn't feel realistic to you or that like you wouldn't do in that situation. And that is so difficult in modern horror movies with cell phones. Cell phones ruin so many movie plots.
Everything.
Yeah, there's so many situations.
In general just ruin everything because you can zoom, I don't know. It's so much you can do. You can get on Facebook and go on live and just like, hey, you guys, there's a killer here. I am not playing. This is my location. This is my name. This is my birthday. Please, somebody call the cop. Everybody might think it's a joke initially, but once they see at least like something that looks so realistic, somebody, maybe 10 of your people that are watching your live will say, you know what, maybe I should call the cops.
I always like seeing how some movies try to deal with that by being like, oh, there's no reception, or oh, the Wi-Fi is out, just to like try to cover that up just so you're not asking that question while watching it. But yeah, then I can see why you like the older movies because
it's not realistic. They get on telephones.
Yeah, exactly. Evil Dead, there's nothing that these people can do in their situation. Even the bridge is gone by the time they wise up and try to get out of there.
I know. See, I'm getting goosebumps. It's like, what could you do in that instant? It is nothing. He got to that bridge and it was like...
It's all like curled up and everything.
Yeah, And in that moment, especially when I was younger, I'm like, what could he have done here? Nothing. You have to go down to maybe the river and who knows what's down there.
So Evil Dead, of course, has its sequels. Evil Dead 2, which is half remake of the first one and then half new story. And then Army of Darkness, where he goes back in time. And then the TV show. Oh, and there's a remake. Oh, did you like the Evil Dead remake?
I didn't watch the remake. I did not watch the remake because I'm an original person. So I gave like Candyman, and even Candyman was like totally different than what I would have thought it would be.
Did you like the Candyman remake?
I liked it. I wasn't disappointed. I liked it. It's just not what I envisioned. I thought, it was gonna really just play on the original, and it didn't. The old Candyman made his appearance in the new one, and that was cool, but it was something that I wasn't envisioning in at all. But I did not watch the new one. Don't kill me. But no, I did not. I like the original. I want to keep it there.
I mean, I love the original too. I gotta recommend you watch that remake.
Okay.
It is often regarded, and I will agree to this, as one of the best horror remakes ever made.
If it's not, I'm calling you out on Twitter.
Okay.
Don't worry. Okay.
I'll stand behind it.
I believe you. You're a professional at this. I believe you. I'm gonna check it out.
I will put my reputation on the line to defend the 2013 version of Evil Dead. The cool thing about it is that, when you think of the original, like we've already discussed, you think of all the blood and the gore.
Oh my God.
Right? It's just nonstop. But there is a little bit of humor to the movie because, like, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, such big Three Stooges fans. That especially comes through in the sequel. But even in the original, there's a little bit.
The only thing that does work is this lousy horn. I'll go to hell. I'm not honking at you.
That remake is just pure horror and maintains all the gore. There are some of the goriest things I've ever seen in horror movies in that Evil Dead remake, man.
Okay,
It is
all right.
nasty.
I literally have Evil Dead on my TV right now. So I'm going to check out the remake after, because I was like, you know what? I haven't watched it in like a year. So I was like, I need to watch it. Let me tune in and see what's going on and just refresh my memory. And then, so now that you're recommending this,
I would say check it out because, I think most fans of the series are still like, yeah, that's a good remake.
all right.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the sequels, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness?
I'm more of a fan of Evil Dead 2, yeah. And then the TV show ended in 2018,
I think? Yeah, it was 15 to 18, I think, was its run.
Okay.
Did you watch that?
Just a little bit of that. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a little bit of it.
What's wrong with Army of Darkness for you? Is it too funny, too comedic, not horror enough?
It's not horror enough. It's not horror enough because even in the original Evil Dead, it had just little pin drops of comedy of things that he would say throughout the movie. But it's too comedy for me. Comedy.
I like Army of Darkness, but I agree. I definitely rank it lowest out of all the Evil Dead stuff because especially the character Ash at that point.
It's comedy, straight comedy.
Yeah, he's just a cartoon character, and it's kind of funny, but I want to see some horror, some ass kicking.
That's where it came from. It came from, I don't know if they were trying to scare kids or something like that, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do in the first one, scare people, and it scared me, and especially as a kid. Again, I had to take breaks in between and say, all right, let's turn on the lights, let's refresh everything. All right, now we can watch it again because it was so dang scary, and then it just started adding more comedy to it. But the little comedy drops that they had in the first one was perfect. I didn't see any problems with it, especially what Ash was saying in between. So it was funny.
What are some of your standout favorite scenes or moments from this first movie that even though you haven't watched it in a year, just immediately you think of when you think of this movie?
When was it a pencil they stabbed?
Yes, in the ankle.
Oh my gosh. that was a part that made me gotta grab something.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Can I finish this? And the would you call them zombies?
They're their technical name is Deadites. I don't know if they're possessed, whatever.
I thought they were possessed, but the one that was in the cellar.
Yes.
That one in the cellar, the woman in the cellar was probably super creepy as she was just, that was creepy.
She's like the demon hype man just down there raising the roof and cheering on as everyone else is doing their shit. That's always stuck with me, the demon in the cellar, for sure.
I couldn't have dealt with somebody in the cellar the entire time taunting me. There's no way. Would have had to go. Period. There's no way.
Yeah, there's a scene where the cellar Deadite is screaming and then his possessed girlfriend is screaming and laughing and there's just so much noise going on. I'm like, how did you not just murder them?
That would have been easy for me. And then she turned back to human for a second.
Yep, that's what did it.
And that was kind of okay, this is scary. So those two moments, but the ankle part was just, I don't know. The whole movie had it was an instance when the woman had her nails and clawed through his face. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of that.
Yeah, especially as the movie continues, as it gets closer to the end, it's just nonstop happening. All these crazy blood and gore shots. And that's the other thing about this movie is for as low budget as it is, it's no surprise that Sam Raimi became so successful because even with the limited money that he had, there were still a lot of cool, artistic, memorable shots. Right in the beginning, the tracking shot following the car as it's approaching the cabin, that's always stuck with me.
The swing. And
yeah.
stops. in the beginning. That kind of was like, all right, now you guys should know something is off. Like,
yeah,
right here. And just the trail, like you said, when it's showing like the back of the car, just the trail into the cabin, and it's like this narrow trail that nobody has tracked in years. That would have been enough. Like, all right, guys, this is something going on here. Nobody's been here. I can't do this. It was a lot of great scenes in that movie.
One of the very minor shots that always stuck with me is when things really hit the fan and the outlets start bleeding, like blood's just coming out the outlets. It's so cool.
Everything. Well, blood was coming down the whole camera at one point.
Yeah, on the projector, just bathing him in red. It's such interesting shots.
Everything.
When I talk to people about their favorite horror movies, I like to ask them to try to stump me with questions in a segment I call Stump James, where I actually use an image of Ash cutting off his hand and having a stump. So it's Stump James. Yeah. That's in the sequel, but yeah, I understand you have a few questions for me to see if you will stump me about the Evil Dead.
What country is the film banned in?
Is it still banned in the UK? Is that what you're looking for?
No.
No, it's not.
It was actually, I think it was 2016, maybe.
Oh, it was like recently banned.
I feel like it is. I want to Google this right now, but
okay.
I feel like it just like came back. But it's banned in China.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. You know, if a country's gonna ban something, it's probably like China. Okay.
It's like China.
Yeah.
Let me think. I'm pretty sure if you're a fan, you know everything. So the beginning, when they were going over the bridge and a bunch of logs fell down, it was used also in another scene. What scene was it?
Like the same shot of the logs falling?
The logs falling off the bridge. At the beginning, it was like 3 like logs under the bridge that fell into the river. What scene were they reused for?
Like the physical logs. You're saying the filmmakers.
Log. It's not even a real log. They made the log. Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna have to take a guess because I don't know for sure. So I will guess. I'm trying to think of all the things that Ash gets thrown into, because he gets thrown into bookcases several times and shit's just falling all over him. And I know Bruce Campbell is literally just taking all those hits himself. He was like wanted to be kind of a stunt performer.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. Were they used in the tree scene?
It was used in the tree scene. That's the only scene that you could really use it in, if you think about it. Yeah, it says. It was used in the tree scene, but it was also used from I cannot think what movie it was streamed from, but it came from also a prop in a previous movie as well.
Whoa.
I can't think of the movie right now, but it was also used as a prop from a previous movie, yes.
Oh, interesting. I had never heard of this.
Yes,
Good stuff.
yes. You gotta look it up.
Yeah.
That's probably as far as I could dig to get you into, because you like it. Everything else is trivial that you can Google, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm not good. My hands are up here.
I know.
I'm not Googling.
I see you like look down for a second, so I don't know what you were doing. I don't know. At one point, I was down here playing with my dog, so
right.
right, exactly. You never know. So Ash's car. Do you know where the car? What other movies have the car?
Oh man.
In? You get just one. Just give me one, because I have one good one. Let's
okay.
see, because you named a couple of movies that are very relevant today. So
is it Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man.
Okay, I figured like most Sam Raimi movies probably have that car in it. Yeah.
It's Spider-Man. All right, you got me on that one.
Okay, cool. I will take my, what was that? Did I get it? 1, 2? I got 2 right.
You got 2. Yes. You got 2.
All right, I'll take that. I'm real happy about that.
Yes, man, these trivias, don't come at me, because I'm like, oh.
Well, Jade, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. Loved talking to you, loved talking Evil Dead, and I loved meeting your dog Belle before we started filming. Very cute dog.
Right. She's over here having the time of her life, eating everything.
I've also got to say, you are just an inspiration. Your build, height, and weight are the same as my height and weight, and yet we do not have the same physique. Not at all.
That lets you know that you can do it.
Right? I'm like, okay, that's the goal, I guess.
You'll probably, if you add muscle, I'm pretty sure you'll be way more in weight than I am.
Man. And yeah, please keep doing what you're doing, because it is awesome, and I think it is really drawing a lot of people to pro wrestling who wouldn't otherwise be watching.
Well, if any movies want to contact me, I can scream my butt off, guys, all right?
Jade, the problem is you're not a believable victim. You can't. No one's gonna believe that someone's gonna, like, a killer's gonna be able to get the jump on you.
Maybe from behind. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I trip, the typical old school ways. I trip. Maybe I trip on a branch or something, right?
Because you were just talking about coming after Leatherface in a bus, and I believe that you could take him, even with this chainsaw.
Yeah, right. The way he threw that chainsaw is dope.
That was dope. Like, he just threw it at her.
He was a linebacker in that movie, so
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, well, thanks again, Jade.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.